Hello, TBE family, and welcome to the TBE podcast, where we share thought-provoking stories, strategies, and ideas, as well as engage with insightful leaders from a wide range of fields and businesses within South Africa. If the topics of entrepreneurship, business, startups, property, marketing, or finance interest you, then you've tuned in to the right place. Welcome back to another episode of the TBE podcast. On this episode, we will be discussing how organizations can become greater through the power of technology with Ricardo Canovi, manager at Kocho South Africa. The general manager, correct?
Correct, that's right, yes.
Ricardo, thank you so much for being on this episode with us today. It's a pleasure to have you with us. For those of us listening in, I just want to give you an overview of Ricardo. Ricardo is an industry veteran with more than 24 years of experience, primarily in the financial services sector. He joined Kocho from Altron, where he was national head of campus operations for a large South African blue chip banking group, Standard Bank. Most of Ricardo's career has been in large enterprise, and as a result, he brings a corporate pedigree to the table. Ricardo has also held numerous senior management and leadership positions within the IT sector. Ricardo also holds various qualifications from prestigious universities, including Stellenbosch University Business School, Cape Peninsula University of Technology, and a master's degree from the University of Cape Town. At the heart of what drives him are people, whether they are staff or his customers. It is so great to have you with us today, Ricardo. Thank you for your time. We are really excited to hear about Kocho. I'm going to jump right into the first question. Are you good?
Thanks, Ryan. Pleasure. Thank you for having us.
So, can you explain why modern organizations need identity management solutions like enterprise identity, customer identity, partner identity, and identity governance?
Yeah, absolutely. So identity management or identity access management, to give it its full title, is for the person who doesn't understand any of it, it's really like getting the car keys to your car. And it's also like having a passport to allow you into places where you're allowed to be, and you can't get into places where you're not allowed to be. So it really underpins security, which is the common thread throughout Kocho and all the solutions that we do provide. Why do we need it? It pretty much enhances data security, effective access to resources across the entire company. It reduces human error through automation. For when you are creating new users, new accounts, etc. So you can always have human error creeping into that. With a degree of automation, it strips that out. So typically when we talk about identity management for our customers, we talk about enterprise customers, we talk about their customers, and then we also talk about their partners. So to use an example is probably always best. I don't know if I can use names, but a Woolworths or a Pick n Pay or whatever, that would be the enterprise or the customer. They would have customers who sign onto their website to use their products, etc. And Woolworths and Pick n Pay, whatever, would also have partners, would be their supply chain, etc. So for the enterprise customer or for our customer, what it brings to the table is a seamless user experience on any device, anywhere, at any time. That is extremely important because of the various devices that are brought into companies nowadays. You've got information sitting in various places. It's no longer like the old days where you would just sign onto your PC and pretty much that's it. It's all over the place. It definitely saves the company money. Having a proper identity management in place. It reduces the admin burden on the company's IT department as far as the user base is concerned. Productivity is certainly improved, and it's much easier to control the joiner, mover, and leaver process, which is essentially when a person joins a company, the first thing they need, of course, are their sign-in credentials. If they move to different departments, it follows them. And equally as important, which is sometimes often forgotten, is when they leave. If they leave and their accounts are still active, etc., it's a huge security risk. So it definitely aids in the JML process. On the customer side of their customers, It also aids easy access to their websites, for instance. Enhance security through things like MFA tokens and stuff like that from a security perspective. In a nutshell, it simplifies doing business with the enterprise and their customers. From a partner perspective, we're looking at improved collaboration due to identity management, and of course allows partners to bring their own identity, which is an interesting term where you can bring a set of credentials into another company and use them securely. So that, in a nutshell, sums up identity access management.
Thank you. That was a lot for me to take in, but you explained it really well. When I was on your website researching, I had a lot of questions. So thank you for explaining that really nicely for us that we're listening. What do Kocho's secure workforce services entail? And how do they empower organizations to operate and grow with confidence?
So at the heart of everything that we do at Kocho for any customer solution, the common thread will be security. In our logos, in our in everything we do, it's a common security theme. It's really what sets us apart from many of our competitors. A lot of competitors will bring you to the cloud. They will manage it for you, etc. We bring to the party that extra layer of security, which is something we're very proud of. And essentially what that really means is that it transforms into data protection at the end of the day. You want to know that your data is secure, that you're secure. In fact, it's one of the reasons that a lot of companies are resistant, or a few companies are still resistant to doing the cloud migration because of the idea that they may not be secure there. If they don't have the information on-prem, as we call it, so on-prem is basically not the cloud, it's essentially stored in your offices, for instance, unless they can physically have their data there, etc., they may feel it's not secure. So part of what we do is make sure that it is secure and basically help you to understand that. We do that, we integrate into our solutions. One of the simplest ways of data protection is, of course, encryption. I'm not going to go through the whole gambit of what is available. We'd be here for a very long time. One of the very important ones in this day and age certainly is that of endpoint security. Endpoint security, of course, has become very popular because of all the devices being brought to work. Your mobile phone, your laptop, your iPad. It's no longer a PC that you go and sit in front of and you start working, and all we need to worry about is securing that device. We now have to concern ourselves with various mobile devices across the enterprise, across the estate, and including the partners and the clients of our customers. So the other thing we also look at very extensively, of course, as I've just mentioned, is the mobile space. To the point where we acquired, it was last year, I believe, a company called Mobilicity in the UK that specializes in mobile security. So that was a nice extra piece of technology that we bring on board as well. On the mobile wireless side, it basically reduces cyber threats. Of course, it's a weak point. People have their mobiles and can do all kinds of things. So we want to definitely make sure that is secure. It gives an improved user experience. I'm sure that when you go on your mobile and you try and interact with a retailer or whatever the case is, you want it to be as smooth as possible. Having control of that endpoint and making sure that it is safe goes a long way. And then when it comes to the wireless side of things, those are basically your APs or your access points. We ensure that stuff is secure as well, because again, there's a huge move away from networks as we currently know them, which is basically wired cables and stuff. So you're now talking about Wi-Fi devices. So endpoint security, extremely important there. And what underpins all of that is, of course, when we do go into a company or a new customer, is we do a security posture assessment. So you need to know what it is that you're getting, you're going to be dealing with. How do things look on the customer's estate? What sort of risks and weaknesses are there? Once we can ascertain that, it also assists the client in doing the proper security spends where they are needed, because often it's a knee-jerk reaction where your customer might put multiple solutions in to protect this, and that. So a single security model is really what you're looking for, yeah.
So from secure workforces, we're going to security operations. How do your security operations services help organizations keep their systems secure?
Well, security operations is really again about understanding what the customer compliance posture looks like. When it comes to security, almost all companies and corporates, etc., do have a certain compliance model that they need to adhere to. So what we would also do is we would, go in, have a look at the landscape, see what it looks like. A system making that or keeping true to that compliance where we can. We would implement data classifications, sensitive data labels as well. So we'll go in there, look at your data, divvy it up, have a look at how best we can secure it through labeling and classification. We also, throughout the process, we're with the customer every step of the way. Security. One of the things we do as well as security is security through detection and response, or as it's more commonly known as extended detection and response (XDR), which is one of our flagship security models, which really is a suite of Microsoft Defender tools, which protects cloud. And what that deals with is continuous threat monitoring. So we are continually looking at what the customer's estate looks like from a security perspective, seeing if something's brewing, what's going on. And of course, consolidating the security, as I mentioned earlier. You don't want security sources from all over the place and having different monitoring all over. So we like to bring that into the picture. Into one picture, I should say. And that is where the Security Operations Center really comes in, or better known as a SOC, S-O-C. So the SOC is pretty much a command center where we have various customers that have got these services with us. We monitor them in real time, 24/7, and we can see what sort of threats are out there. We can see if anything suspicious is happening on their sites. And we use a lot of data modeling and machine learning, AI, of course, we use those words, to see trends. You get to know the customer, you get to know what's the sort of norm, and when things start operating outside of that norm, your AI picks that up and things like that. So, yeah, it's really quite impressive. These are, of course, very secure environments, SOCs. They're not just for anybody's access. So, definitely a lot of work goes into standing up a SOC. The main component inside the SOC that we use is the Microsoft Sentinel, which is really a place where you centralize your threat collection, detection, and response. Being a Microsoft partner allows us to do a lot of really cool, fantastic things. Microsoft Sentinel is one of their premier products, so it definitely helps being a Microsoft partner.
Let's go on to the transformation and innovation services you have.
Yes.
How does Kocho's transformation and innovation services assist organizations in achieving their full potential?
Very good question, and almost at the heart of what it is that we do for the most part, which is bringing customers up into the cloud. So cloud transformation is really the act of lifting a business's current processes up into the cloud environment. We often talk about a lift and shift, which is probably the more simpler one. We do develop solutions in cloud for the customers and augment what they're doing currently on-prem, again, as we say, sort of on the ground, if you like. It's basically moving the business into a secure cloud environment, which reduces the costs and leaves the customer with better spend control, because you can control a lot more in the cloud than what you can with your existing set of hardware, for instance, or applications, data, software on the ground. You own that. It has a lifespan. With cloud, it's very different. It's very configurable. It's a lot more agile. It allows, as I say, the business to be agile. And in this day and age, that is extremely important, agility. You can't, you may have a business model which stretches 6 months. You may have a very long-term goal, but what happens if you need to change that very quickly? And nowadays, with everything being underpinned by IT and data, etc., you're going to want to make decisions quickly and make changes quickly. And that's essentially what the cloud allows. At the heart of it, again, is, of course, data protection. Customers don't want to lift all their precious data from their on-premise premises, etc., up into the cloud without being totally assured that it's secure. It's an extremely important one. Along with cloud transformation comes the other service that we provide, and that being one of business transformation. Now, business transformation is as important as cloud transformation in that it's pointless a company does the transition into cloud and everyone in the company is afraid to use it, is resistant to it, doesn't know how to use it, hasn't been advised properly. So essentially, there's a lot of hand-holding when it comes to doing a cloud project. And business transformation is something that we are with the client every step of the way as well. So that really translates to a lot of change management, which is crucial. It's arguably it's a very big investment for most companies to move into the cloud. It's a huge IT project, and for the customer to realize a return on investment from that project, it needs to be used. It needs to be used optimally, and that's really where we come in. So we don't only transform you into the cloud from a digital migration perspective, we're also going to be there to ensure you know how to use it, to make sure your users have confidence in using it. It's user buy-in. So that's all to do with the sort of the cloud transformation, business transformation.
Okay, so the management services, is that what you just described, taking it?
So the management services, but before we move to the management services, the AI and data analytics is another very exciting service that we offer, and that really has to do with really a company's data, where we find a lot of companies have various streams of data sources.
Okay.
They very rarely combine into one single space. So you've got pockets of data everywhere.
Not consolidated.
Not consolidated. And what we will do is we do we'll combine the data sources. And once we do that, it really opens up all kinds of possibilities for a company. I mean, data is like gold. I almost liken data to be the iron ore, or the gold sort of ore. And what data analytics and AI does is extracts the gold out of that.
Okay.
And there is a lot of gold in data. So basically, it allows companies to make data-driven decisions, which is so important. Your knee-jerk reactions and your decisions from gut feel is also very good. But of course, a data-driven decision has a little bit more power behind it. Helps you with your future forecasting, trends, analysis, etc. It certainly helps you to innovate. You can draw insights from that data. And at the end of the day, it increases your operational efficiency. So data analytics, big one.
Can you tell us about your managed services and how they help businesses take the pressure off the IT and security departments?
Yeah, absolutely. So managed services is one of our core services that we offer as well. Managed services is not a new concept or a new service. It certainly has been going for a very long time. It really it boils down to how you employ it. When it comes to managed services, I'm always of the opinion that your competitors are usually doing a similar thing, okay. which makes it difficult to stand out. And where I've always been of the opinion is that when it comes to similar offerings, where you stand out has got to be in your service. Service is often the differentiator when it comes to managed services, for instance. In our space, we offer the managed IT support, which comes in all its guises. What that really offers the customer is cost control or reduction. You don't own the IT department anymore, and that's another sort of a concept which some might you've got to, if your core business is not IT, why would you want to own IT in that business? It's a distraction from what you've set out to do originally. It's massive overheads from a capex opex perspective. You've got equipment that you don't. Why would you want to own all that equipment, especially when you consider how equipment goes out of date, licensing and all that kind of stuff on-prem, that is. So it really assists the customer with cost control and reduction. you've got improved performance. In fact, your performance is almost guaranteed contractually via SLAs. So it's not the customer's problem. It's our problem to make sure that their SLAs are kept at a high standard, which is basically their service level agreements. And they will hold us to account, and as they should. So you've got that improved performance there. You've got access to the expert resources, which if you were keeping that in-house, you'd have to find them, you'd have to employ them, you'd have to keep them happy. That's all left to us. We are a tech company, and it's our business to have technical resources of high caliber. So that comes along. You've got the enhanced security. Again, you'll hear that word security. There's not a topic here that I'll discuss that doesn't include security. The scalability, of course, as I mentioned earlier, cardinal, especially for a business nowadays to remain agile. You want to be able to scale. You want to start up a proof of concept in the cloud. You want to do an MVP. You want to break it down and move forward quickly. You're not going to do that if you're not in cloud, for instance, or it's going to be very expensive, and failure there could be quite catastrophic. The downtime is reduced because we have certain agreements in place with a managed service that it's our obligation, contractual obligation, to make sure that you're up for the cert for 24/7 or whatever your contract asks for. And of course, you've got access to the latest technology because that is what we do. It's our business to stay up to date, just like you would expect your asset manager or your investors to be up to date with the latest portfolios, etc. It's our business, technology. That's the managed IT side support. Then we also have the managed security side of things. Of course, we would have that. Core services there include the managed Sentinel, as I mentioned to you, where you will find that in your SOC, which is the congregation of all your data threats, etc., and information surrounding that. Then there's the managed extended detection and response, which I've always thought was such a cool acronym, XDR. It really sounds quite potent.
It does. It really does.
It really is quite. It's as impressive as it sounds. When you combine Sentinel with XDR, you've got our flagship security model, which is extremely potent. And that, in a nutshell, is managed services.
Thank you for taking us through that. I think this is a perfect segue because you were speaking about it right now. How does Kocho go about selecting the technology solutions that it offers to its clients? What criteria does the company go through to ensure that its offerings are powerful, secure, capable of meeting the needs of the modern, ambitious organization?
Indeed. Selecting the right technology solutions. If you told me I could only give you one answer right now, I would confidently say, and the rest can follow, listen to the client.
Okay, wow.
Listen to your customer. You can have meetings with customers and think you know what it is that they want, run off and provide and create this amazing solution, only to find that it's not exactly what the customer wants. And then you start negotiating with the customer to try and squeeze it in and make it work. It doesn't work like that. Number one, listen to the customer. We do that obviously through various processes. One of them, of course, involves consultation teams that will go in, and these are often the solutions architects themselves that will go and have a look and see what's going on. The consultation teams will go in, have a look. The technology itself, the solutions themselves, given that we are a Microsoft partner, we obviously use Microsoft Azure. Sorry, I say obviously as if everyone would know that. we use Microsoft Azure, which is their cloud platform. So the solutions that we use are very strictly governed. The solutions always follow Microsoft's cloud adoption framework, which is essentially a best practice, industry best practice for Azure, for designing and implementing, from whether it be security, databases, cloud networking, whatever the case may be. The client is always assured that it is purpose-built, secure, safe. All the solutions as well are also built around recognized bodies and standards. So your ISO standards and stuff like that will always ensure that solution that we provided for you does hold muster. So, again, back to your original question, selecting technology solutions. I wouldn't say solutions are very rarely that bespoke that you literally have to reinvent the wheel. Unless you have something really special out there, in which case we'll certainly do it. But most of it does follow the Azure guidelines for best practice for cloud digital migration. Yeah.
Maybe a final question to sign off on this episode for us. Can you tell us more about Kocho's approach to working with organizations across a variety of industries? That must be quite complex. Could you break it down for us?
Yeah, it is. It can be very complex. As you can imagine, Kocho has a host of clients across various industries. In fact, I don't think there's an industry that we don't represent.
Wow.
Perhaps the aerospace industry, I don't know.
Okay.
But if we're not, I've made a note.
Yeah. Soon to come.
Yep, yeah. So we find, again, you can group certain companies into certain industries. So the typical sort of industries are your finance, your professional services industries. You've got your healthcare industries. You've got the legal industry. And then you've got your manufacturing industry, which might incorporate engineering as well. We do find certain requirements in those industries which are not necessarily as required in other industries. So, for instance, if you look at the finance industry, you'll appreciate that solutions for that industry are really focused on compliance. The finance industry is very hardcore when it comes to compliance, as they should be. So we will tailor solutions that really focus on the compliance stuff. Not to say that we're not going to be doing the other stuff. It's just that that's always on the on our foremost thoughts is compliance. If you look at the professional services industries, for instance, that tends to be very project sort of driven, and so we will do project-driven solutions for them, and whatever architecture is required to bring that into existence. The healthcare environment, we typically find that they have a strong emphasis on data security. Getting those X-rays from the pathologist to that doctor's desk, patient records. It's a very data-intensive environment and definitely strong on security. It's interesting to note that an IBM report showed that the healthcare industry, from a data breach perspective, is almost 3 times that of almost any other industry. It's quite an alarming figure. Yeah. The other industry, for instance, legal, again, also a very high focus on compliance and data security. Again, being legal, you would certainly expect that. Confidentiality of their clients, compliance, of course, because it's legal. So solutions around that are crafted taking that into consideration. Again, as a general, it's not the manufacturing industry, Industry 4.0, dictates a move away from the siloed systems approach, which was the old school of doing things with legacy processes. You've got a manufacturing process there, another one there. They don't talk to each other, stuff like that. So with the Industry 4.0, we start looking at solutions that are focused more on end-to-end integration and operational efficiency. We also, in doing that, the customer gets a cost reduction and a maximization of profit. So again, they're not bespoke industries, but we do look at these industries knowing that we're going to be looking at a manufacturing client, perhaps. More than often, those are the kind of solutions that they'd be looking for.
Got you. Thanks for going through. And it sounds like each industry obviously has one of the most important factors, but every single factor is always in play for every industry. Is that correct?
Absolutely, yes, absolutely. Look, I mean, Microsoft Azure for cloud development, it's like an enormous toolbox of solutions. And I was actually commenting to the head of our solutions architecture just yesterday. I've always viewed cloud architecture as Lego for adults, because it really is. You've got these building blocks. It's exciting to put them together. The kind of stuff you can create. You may buy a box of Lego that is theme driven, that can make one thing, but by the end of it, you've done other stuff with it. You see, it's the same thing for cloud design.
When you know how to use it like masterfully, right? I'm sure. I could not see it as Lego, but I'm glad you can. That's for sure. Ricardo, it's been really great. Thank you for going through Kocho. I'm sure we just barely scratched the surface. Maybe we can have you on another episode in the future. But thanks for coming in and sitting with us today. Maybe for those people interested that are listening in right now, if they want to find out more about Kocho, do you guys have social channels? How could they get in touch with your team?
Yeah, absolutely. It's the usual stuff. Pop on over to our website, which is, of course, www.kocho.co.uk. There's the LinkedIn channels, of course. They will find us there. You'll find me there, obviously. If anyone is interested, I'm more than happy to give my email address out, which would be ricardo.canovi@kocho.co.uk.
Okay. And then on LinkedIn, Ricardo Canovi.
Absolutely. There are not too many of my names around in LinkedIn.
Awesome. Ricardo, thank you so much for your time. And from all of us here at the Business Exchange, catch you on the next episode, guys.